Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 26th of June. Starting off with the FTSE, which is trading within that rather strange range between 8,700 and 8,800 for the last few days, but then obviously at the end of May as well. Still got the risk of a test of the 50-day line there, 86.40, or 86.48. But at least while we're above 8,700 at that range between 87 and 88 looks to be where this market is going. We do break out through 8,800 the next time. We're looking for 9,000 by the end of next month. RSI has fallen below neutral 50, so that heightens the risk of a test of that 50-day moving average, which could actually work as it's worked in the case of the DAX, where we had the test of the 50-day line, then actually gapped up. Current position is that we're still holding the gap. We haven't actually filled that gap, which is encouraging. And looking for this market to stay above the old March resistance at 23,500. Above that, looking for the top of the channel there, currently heading towards 24,900 by the end of next month. RSI just above neutral 50, so that gives it a positive spin, as does the way that we've failed to fill that gap, which is a show of strength. Moving along to the Dow, where shows of strength in the recent past have been rather few and far between, but we are still attempting to get past March resistance there, 43,000. Proper end of day closes above that. We could be looking at 44,000, but that would be maybe for the first half of July. Nice RSI bounces at neutral 50, and we've had several of those since the beginning of last month, so this does look as though it's a glass which is half full. The other point to note is the way that the 200-day line and the 50-day lines are both rising, and we've also bounced off the floor of that rising May trend channel at 42,000, as well as holding the gap higher from Tuesday. Moving on to Bitcoin, which I suppose, given how many companies are adopting a Bitcoin treasury strategy, should be going through the roof. At least it has recovered from the brief dip below 100,000. We've got a rising 50-day line, in fact, rising 50 and 200-day lines. All we need to do now to get a big release on the upside would be to break that resistance line there from last month, around 109.5. Above that, and we're looking for as high as 125 by the end of next month, which hopefully would revive the BTS companies. Onto gold, and here it's been a matter of testing the 50-day line, as was suspected that needed to be done. Perhaps we're almost exactly on that now at around 33.30. Above that and above the previous day's lows, Tuesday's low at 32.95. Still looking for progress through 3400 with a best case scenario target at 3800 by the end of next month. 30 negative at the moment, or a negative at the moment, is the way that the RSI is at below neutral 50. So there is a risk of more testing of that 50-day line area. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Bluebird mining. And here we had a spike towards the 2 pence level. We were looking for 2.2 pence, I think, by the end of next month, but looks as though the shares were having an attempt to do that by the end of this month. Interesting also that the 50 and 200 days lines are rising for a cross, and that should happen in the next few days. Still looking for 2.2 pence over the near term, especially while we're above resistance on the way up at 1.46. And that was the high of a previous recent session. Moving along to stock which I wrote up today, which is looking quite interesting. Boku near resistance now at 195. Want to see an end of day close through this 195 area, maybe 197, and that could take us up towards the £2.30 area by the end of next month. We've already had the moving averages crossing there. You can see rising trend channel there since the middle of 2022, and that's pointing to the 230 zone while we're above recent support, at least £1.85 and above. It was a golden cross there last week, and also the RSI above neutral 50 continuously since the end of April, so that does show or indicate positive accumulation. Moving on to Coinsilium, which has been a bit of a rocky ride over the recent past. You can see that the shares lost that 30 pence zone, so it was sort of 30, 50, 80 on this one, and actually pushed down towards the 20 zone, which was a previous temporary target, above 20, hoping for an end of day close back above 30 pence to give us 50. But at the moment, that's probably the best we've got on offer. You can see the high today so far, 41 and a half. On to stock in a different area, Hamak, which I interviewed a few weeks ago. You can see that we've got the shares doing well today, rising above above the old target there, which was around zero 0.8. Above that, we're looking for a retest of 1.4, 1.5 by the end of next month. Suspicions were that the base in Kefi would be around the 0.5 pence area, and that looks as though it's just about going to be the case. Here you can see that we've got that rising trend channel there from November. The only thing missing at the moment is to get that RSI back above neutral 50, but had a few failures to do that, and then we could get back up to, say, 0.6 pence by the end of next month or even sooner. Best case is still 0.75, 0.77 at the top of that channel, maybe for later in the summer. Ideally, there's now no end of day close back below 0.5 pence. Moving on to Mast, which has rehabilitated itself in the recent past, a V-shaped bull flag, as I call it, looking for a breakout end of day close through 1.28 to give us a final destination over the near term, maybe by the end of next month at 1.6 pence, which was the old November 2023 resistance. Maytag is next and looking quite strong at the moment. You can see that we've gapped up to new highs, rising trend channel here. That's been in place since the summer of 2023, looking for the top of that channel there at 45 pence by the end of next month, while we remain above 30 pence, the gap floor. On to Poolbeg, where I think there's been some stake building, and here that's helping the cause with a rising 50-day moving average there near the lows. We've got an uptrend line in the RSI window as well, so looking for a retest of May resistance through 4.7 pence by the end of next month or even sooner. Then I called up Roadside Real Estate to 55 pence by the end of next month. We're already at 51 pence, so hopefully we will do that. What you can also see, though, is that the rising trend channel there is now heading up to as high as 57 pence, or 58 pence, in fact. So that's our target for the end of next month, while we remain above the latest gap floor there at 46 pence. Stock at the moment, not always in a good way, but the stock at the moment is Smarter Web. Here it's interesting that we had that overshoot a couple of days ago on Tuesday down towards £1.97, but since then, basically the support's been around 240, and that looks as though, even with today's fundraise, that will be the base. Obviously, there is a possibility of an overshoot to £2 or even lower, but at the moment, 250 looks like the overshoot zone. 240 looks like support zone, and looking for 340 at the floor, the broken floor of that rising trend channel over the course of the next week or two. I suppose one could widen that rising trend channel like that, and then obviously that fits Tuesday's price action and today. So interesting to see if that 240 area holds. On to company I interviewed, I think a week or two ago. Here we've got Solvonis, and here the situation is that we're finding support above rising 50 and 200 day lines. That suggests they're going into a golden cross, very bullish there. That what's also bullish are the double bounce for the RSI above neutral 50, and on that basis, we're still looking for the top of the rising trend channel base from back in October, as high as 0.28 pence by the end of next month. UOG is next after a bit of a rug pull. You can see it's trying to get its act together. Found support at the old resistance there around 0.16 and bouncing now. We're looking for 0.3 pence by the end of next month off the back of the 50-day RSI, the 50 RSI rebound, neutral 50 rebound, and the recent golden cross for the shares. On to the last stock, which is Wishbone, which seems to be getting its act together as well at the moment. Here you can see that we've got a rising trend channel base, rising 50 and 200 day lines, rising 50 day line. Top of the range and top of that channel, 0.27, which is what we're looking for by the end of next month, and double bounce of the RSI on neutral 50 as well, giving this a better look than we've had for quite some time. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.